Hi, I'm Gary and welcome to my shop. In this video I'm going to show you about using a cork sanding block and how to do this, some of the other options for some other kinds of sanding blocks and so forth, and show you about how I do this. So stay tuned and I'll show you how. Well, the first step for cutting up some sandpaper to fit this cork sanding block is to take a sheet of sandpaper. We're going to cut it in half vertically here like this. And what I did is I took a ruler to this and found that it measures at about 9 1/16 of an inch wide. So I'm going to cut these up at 4.5 inches wide for the strips. And the sanding block that I've got here anyway is it's like 4 5/16 inches long here. That's going to be fitting onto the sandpaper in this fashion here. So I'll have that. So it's slightly wider than the sanding block when I cut the strip. So I'm going to get my camera angle in here and do this cut. Alright, so I'm going to line up. I'm using a paper cutter here for doing this. Actually cutting sandpaper with scissors or paper cutters kind of tends to sharpen the blades for you a little bit on the cutters. Lift this up, line my paper at about the 4.5 inch mark, and hold it in there so it's square, and clamp down on here so it's pressing out, lining up good. Then just cut it. So this should get me about 2 equal parts here. Pretty good. Now what we do is we take, and the top part of this sanding block or cork block is a bit beveled all around it, so this will be kind of like the top. The bottom part is flat and square around all the edges. Alright, so I've got my sandpaper cut to size here as I showed before, and I've got my sanding block, and what I'm going to do is flip the sandpaper upside down here and my sanding block upside down, so these beveled edges are on the bottom here, and this is the flat edge on here. Then what I'm going to do is fold this up, the sandpaper, and line this with the edges so they're, fairly good and straight, like that. Then I'm going to pull this tight and then kind of fold this over as I keep this tight, and then I'll have this flap edge up on top here, and that'll be great for doing my sanding and stuff. Now the edges are, you can do some stuff with the edges, but it's not going to be as tight and square of a fit as it would be with perhaps some other sanding blocks that are really perfectly square. For general purposes, this is great because the flexibility of the cork sanding block gives you a lot more to work with, especially also for if you're going to do some chamfering edges here. Then once you kind of wear this out a bit, what you can do is undo this, flip this around, get your bottom back here again, and just kind of do it the same way again, where you can get this on there, fold it tight, fold it up and around, and you expose a fresh edge that you can use again for sanding. That'll be great. Great way to use sanding blocks that are cork. They give you the flexibility to go along with some of the edges and contours that you have in your woodwork. So, as you can see with the sanding block, this cork sanding block, it's easy to change from one grit to another really quick and easy. So you can change out frequently. And also if you got some smaller pieces of sandpaper, you can put them on here, and as long as you can get it on there a little bit snug, wrap around, hold it with the sides of your fingers like this, and you can sand and get some use out of some shorter pieces of sandpaper. So next up, I'm going to show you some of the other types of sanding blocks that there are. Okay, so some of the other kinds of sanding blocks we've got besides this cork sanding block, or get some others like this that kind of the same thing. These are kind of heavy rubber, but in order to do that, you got to get the sandpaper wrapped around it and into these hooks here and the ends. I hope you don't poke your fingers while you're doing it. Get that stretched around and then hook it onto the hooks on the other end too. This one here works pretty much the same and works okay. I like this one better. It's heavier, more of a rubber, hard rubber. This one's a little bit too stiff for my taste. In some situations where I need a specialty sanding situation, then I make my own sanding blocks out of something like this. I've got this one like 60 grit. It's a 1/2-inch thick board, piece of plywood actually, cabinet grade plywood. If I have some Baltic birch scraps, I'd prefer to use those because they're more stable. And this works great for getting into some of the tighter spots that I want to get. And I'll cut these to size for whatever my particular need is at that time. This one I use for sanding slots in some of these craft show shelves that I make. So these are some of the other options out there, and for general purposes, I love this cork sanding block. It seems to be the most versatile, easiest way to change out the different grits of sandpaper, so I like that. Okay, so one more sanding block I wanted to show you. It's this type here, and I'll put up an image on the screen here right now. And this sanding block is Miles Craft. I got a link down below. You can go and check it out on Amazon for yourself. It's about $16, and it uses a 3 by 21-inch sanding belt, which is pretty commonly available at all the big box stores and everywhere else. So check that out. I look at that and I think, geez, the way it looks, it's like maybe I should just grab my belt sander, but the way it comes to a point on the end there, then maybe that would be useful. So anyways, just wanted to give you all these options here, and I will put links down below to all these different sanding blocks that I've been showing you here. Well, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and you got some inspiration. If you did, please give me a like and share it with your family, friends, and fellow craftspersons. Also, please subscribe and be sure to hit that bell icon so you won't miss anything. And also, give me a like. Give me that thumbs up. So, also, I want to hear your comments, your suggestions, and what things or topics would you like to see and what you're interested in. Also, I appreciate your comments because we get a lot of great tips from you that we can share with our other viewers. So, if the ladies don't find you handsome, at least they should find you handy. Thank you.